And the snow is not the only concern here in Louisville. Temperatures are going to be dangerously cold, especially for people without shelter or heat. Wave News reporter Logan Barone shares how new rules could make getting people inside a little easier.
We've got more people who need them than we have gloves.
Regardless of the weather.
Thank you, ma'am.
The good work at St. John's Center goes on. In anticipation of sub-freezing temperatures, 3 extreme weather shelters have been approved by the Metro: Christ Church Episcopal Cathedral, Grace Emmanuel Church of Christ, and St. John, which already operates as a day shelter.
What we see is alarming.
Director Ray Shan Martin says new processes with the Metro help address a growing number of unhoused and others in need. For the shelter, it allows 20 overnight beds.
At this time of year, the goal is just to keep people alive. So it's 20 lives that we know that are safe and inside.
The change is part of new rules approved late last year by Metro Council, making it easier for churches and businesses to open their doors.
Pop-up shelters have been happening in the community, and we do need them, but we wanted to make sure that they were safe and appropriate.
Councilwoman Betsy Rui pushed to ease old requirements. Under the new application process, extreme weather shelters can be approved in days rather than months and are able to stay open in the 24 hours before and after a severe weather event.
We don't have nearly enough places, but this is a step in the right direction.
Even with 20 more beds overnight, St. John's Center remains at capacity.
But those are named.
Though the door is always open for donations and volunteers. Martin says she hopes new permits spark a new conversation about what other groups and organizations can do.
Do they have space, right, in their buildings, in their hearts, to just do more for our neighbors?
And the list of emergency overnight shelters is continuously being updated on the city's Snow Resources website, and the application can be found on the Metro codes and regulations